What's for dinner? That's the question in my house every single day. Sometimes at breakfast, sometimes at lunch, but usually right around 3 o'clock. What are we having for dinner? Oh my gosh, inevitably we'll order takeout. It's easier, but oh my gosh, it's never satisfying. I feel gross about it. And I spend way too much money. So if you would rather enjoy a home-cooked meal without all that stress of planning ahead, Home Chef makes it really, really easy. You know, I love my meal kits, and being able to have a delicious meal without all that long prep is what drew me to Home Chef over the other guys. Their meals are effortless, even for somebody like me who's not going to go on a competitive cooking show anytime soon. Whether you prefer the classic meal kits, I do. That's what I prefer. They have pre-portioned ingredients, easy instructions, the speedy recipes, sometimes ready in less than 30 minutes. They have oven-ready kits with the pre-chopped ingredients, or you can get these quick microwave meals that assemble in minutes. Home Chef has you and the entire family covered for delicious meals without the hassle. They have over 30 options a week that serves a variety of dietary needs. So you don't have to worry about what to make ahead of time, or this one likes this or this one doesn't like that. Not only is it convenient, but it's economical too. Home Chef customers save an average of $86 a month on groceries. They even have a delicious kid-friendly family menu with 18 new options each week. Is picky eater approved and takes that stress at a dinner time. So for a limited time, Home Chef is offering my listeners 18 free meals plus free dessert for life. Yes. And of course, free shipping on your first box. You're going to go to homechef.com/pinkshade. homechef.com/pinkshade for 18 free meals and free dessert for life. You heard it right. homechef.com/pinkshade. You have to be an active subscriber to receive the free dessert. Do it and let me know what you ordered. Hey everybody, welcome to Pink Shade. It's TLC Tuesday. Tuesdays are the day where we talk about 90 Day Fiancé. This week it's Before the 90 Days, Season 7, Episode 10, which was called Something That I Didn't Write Down, but I bet Kimberly has it.
I thought it was episode 9.
Episode 9, and I bet Kimberly has the title.
Things Fall Apart, which
Okay.
is a book that I think I read in high school.
Okay. Things fall apart. It sounds like a what's it called when it's youth? It's
YA? No, it's not.
YA. Yeah, young adult.
Yeah, it's like the Fault in Our Stars. No, it's not.
It's not like that.
No.
Okay. Okay. Well, I am recording now in the 20th place I've recorded in the last 3 weeks. I've been everywhere. I recorded yesterday with Keisha from my oldest sister's husband's office. The one I did before that, I was in my, where was I? That would have been with Amy. So I was at the Airbnb where I was staying, my friend Connie. I don't know where the one before that was because it wasn't at my house. I can't remember, guys. I can't remember. This weekend I'm going out of town, and next week I'm going out of town. And
do you remember last year when I said, "Wow, you go out of town all the time, so fancy," and you got all offended? You do. You go out of town all the time.
I really I'm not doing it on purpose. And these trips to Mississippi have thrown me off. This weekend I have like a girls trip planned with Ingrid and 2 other friends that we planned a long time ago. I'm very excited. I'm
That
gonna
should
get all
be
my
fun.
I'm gonna get all my work done before, and I'll just be like,
Yeah.
except for I won't, because I'm sure I'll have to like take notes on something, but at least I'll be looking at a mountain. And then the next weekend, Anna and I are going to see Billie Eilish.
Oh, your favorite.
And
That's
we
so
couldn't get
exciting.
tickets here, so we're going to Columbus, Ohio.
I
No,
love that.
Cincinnati, Ohio. Yeah. Mother-daughter trip.
Well, I have been trying to plan this trip. Did I tell you?
Your Taylor Swift trip?
Yeah. But I finally booked the hotel and the flights,
Okay.
and it's so much money that now I'm considering not even doing it because it's going to be so much money, and I've never spent that much money on anything for myself ever.
Yeah.
And so now I'm freaking out.
But you know what? you deserve it and you really love Taylor Swift. And that's how we felt when we went and saw The Dead at the Sphere in Vegas, and we went to those 2 shows and spent, the 3 nights there or whatever. We were like, "This is a ridiculous amount of money to spend on concerts." In our case,
Yeah.
everybody in the Grateful Dead is dying off one by one.
Yeah, you have to do it now.
We gotta do it now. Taylor Swift's
Yep.
gonna be around for a long time, but you are a huge Swiftie and have been a Swiftie for a long time, and you deserve to go, and you deserve to do something for yourself.
Yeah, I know. You're right. Logically, I know that.
I know,
Yeah.
and it's a lot of money, but okay, if you didn't spend that money on that, do you have something specific that you're like, "I've really been saving for this, and I really shouldn't spend the Taylor Swift money because I really could put it towards this other major thing?"
No, it would just be like towards rent,
Right.
life,
I know, but you have a good steady job, a couple, more than one,
knock on wood.
and you know,
For now, the podcast
yeah.
industry knows.
But I think, you're still creator of the year. No one can take that from you.
That's true. Yeah. Still haven't gotten my trophy. I did email them.
Okay, good.
I did. I was like, really, I was like, is there any way I could get my trophy? Because,
Because I was supposed to have it 4 months ago.
yeah, I don't
People
want to
don't
be a
believe
pain.
me.
Yeah, I know. I have the envelope. It's
You
like at
could
the
just
Oscars. Like
yeah.
I just have the envelope.
You could just tell people when they don't believe you, go, "Look, let me send you the video. It really happened."
Yeah, exactly. Such a
Oh,
loser.
oh my
Um,
gosh.
anyway, but yeah, you're right. Thank you for the support in the in
What?
no, I'm just taking a drink from my cup, Mary Payne. It makes it a
Kimberly.
little difficult with all my accessories on it. Um,
You guys, Kimberly has. For those of you, I'm going to put this on Instagram as a reel in a day or two. But Kimberly has on
got
top of her
hot.
cup.
I got my pink shade fan. I got my chapstick. I got a deodorant. Sometimes you smell.
Uh
I got a
huh.
fidget spinner thing, like because
Uh huh.
sometimes just a little stuffed animal,
Uh
a
huh.
pepper spray, and
Oh.
mask for safety.
Uh huh.
Sunglasses.
Yeah.
The only thing is it does add some heft to it, and it does make it hard to get to the straw. I will say that drinking is slightly impaired, which I do feel like is one of the main functions of the cup is to drink liquids. But it's
Just
fine. I really like it.
keep it simple. Keep it
Yeah, keep
simple.
it simple, keep it classy. Yeah,
Mm,
I lost my glasses. That's fine. I had my keys on there earlier, but that added so much weight. It just felt like
you guys.
it is a bit hard to get a sip in.
You guys, if you don't know the long-standing joke with us regarding the Stanley Cup. So, I'm a big fan of the Stanley Cup. I'm not trying to brag, but I do have 3. Probably will have 4 by December, just because, you
Turn off
sometimes.
this fan so you
Oh, was the
don't
fan
hear
on?
the fan was on, yeah.
That's the pink shade fan, guys.
Mhm.
And, yeah, I love my cups, and Katie and Kimberly, mostly Katie, your co-host, went on a little bit of a tangent against Stanley Cups and Stanley Cup users, of which she knows I am one, and we are in a throuple, and that hurt my feelings. And so anyway, now they're trying to backtrack and say they were only talking about accessories. Now, they originally started talking about accessories, but then Katie went into, I can't have any friends that use these cups.
Yeah. She
So,
apologized recently. I don't know if it's come out yet, but she basically said, "It's me. I'm the problem. If
mhm,
ever I have a problem, it is directed inward, but I lash out." And so she said, "It's really I have a problem." She said, "I don't drink enough water. I have a problem with hydration."
mhm.
She just drinks Monster energy drinks
That's
most,
not good.
and
That's not good.
yeah, it's terrible. So I think she's jealous that
Mm,
people are well hydrated and she's projecting outward.
that's an interesting spin. That's interesting. Yeah.
She says, "I now feel like I've apologized multiple times." We just talked about it on our live stream yesterday, and she's like, "But I need Mary Payne to know how sorry I am." She feels really bad.
The funniest thing is I was in the airport, and I've now seen these in 2 places. When I was at Bald Head, there's a new gift shop there, and I went in, and they had these teeny tiny, you know, large a shot glass size of these little tiny Stanley cups, just like
Oh,
a
yeah.
Stanley cup with a straw and a lid and the whole thing. And I saw them and I was like, hmm. So then I saw them again at the airport, but with branded like DC or Jackson, Mississippi, wherever I was going. I guess I was
Yeah.
in the DC airport. I sent it to Katie and Kimberly and I said, "Oh, look, it's your Christmas present. It's mini Stanley cups." And Katie said, "Dear God, what are those?" I said, "They're shot glasses." And she wrote back, "For espresso?"
I don't know what she's thinking.
No, Katie, shot glasses for alcohol.
But, like, are you supposed to take the top off and do the shot, or are you supposed to do the shot by sipping through the little straw?
It would that would give you wrinkles, the amount of, like,
Yeah,
because the
it's a
straw is
lot.
so
Mhm,
tiny.
mhm.
I think it's just, like, to be funny,
To
and
be
probably
funny, yeah.
you could line up you could get them from
It would be
Temu.
funny for a bachelorette party.
Yeah, you could line up, like, 30 of them already pre-filled or whatever, and
Yeah,
that would be funny, but,
mhm,
you could probably get them from Temu or Shein or Alibaba or something for it'd be funny for, like, a party, but no,
yeah.
I wouldn't buy one this big for $10 at the airport that said, Washington, DC on it or whatever.
Other thing is, like, you have to take the tape off when you need chapstick. That
Yeah, yeah.
seems like kind of an ordeal.
I really appreciate your effort. What is that on the top? Is it a stuffed animal?
Yeah,
Okay.
and pepper spray. And
Maybe
this is like when I'm trying not to bite my nails. Like, it's like a little.
it's a little fidget spinner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Um, where did you get that little stuffed animal?
I've had it since college, and it used to ride in my car, and my
Okay.
college roommates, like, and I had to name for it and stuff,
Uh-huh.
and then I found it recently, and I put it in my car, even though it's been 20 years. So, it's very old, it's never been washed. I
What's his
can't
name?
remember what the name was.
Oh, his or
We
her. I
had
don't
an
want to.
I gotta text my college roommate and find out what the name was. She'll remember.
This week on Love After Lockup, Brittany and Key Rock went to their friend Coffee's house, and
Oh my god, I'm so behind.
Coffee has two dogs, and their names are Roger and Foxy Lady.
Fuck.
Foxy Lady had on a costume, and Roger was just being Roger. I just love when people give their dogs like names like Roger. I think it's hilarious.
I do too.
Yeah.
I'm so behind. I wanna see what's going on with them. I'm rooting for that couple. I don't know if
Brittany and
other
Key Rock,
people
me
are,
too.
but
I think they're in Houston now for sure.
okay.
They're in
I hope.
Keisha's area.
And then what's happening with the girl who was in the car accident and is dating the guy, but refuses to give up alcohol even though she was almost killed in a drunk driving
And
accident,
he's
and
and
there's no
he's
issues there
and
whatsoever.
he's sober and in prison for
Yeah.
aggravated DUI. Right. First of all, he's so good looking.
Yeah.
He's so good looking. She hasn't washed her hair yet, ever. And
Very greasy.
she's too
Yeah.
busy getting drunk. And she's what's happening with them? They had a fight because she went to a bar and got drunk with his cousin, who we think wants to rage bang her. And
100% or him. The
we
cousin
don't know.
is
He's
is
hot. He's hot
he's
for both of
hot
them.
and he's shady.
And so he goes and gets drunk with her at a
They
bar,
got
and
drunk together? Oh my god.
yeah, and then he comes, and then it all seems a little staged, like, "Meh, meh," but then like the next day, she's like legit crying, and she's like, "It's just a red flag because you couldn't make me coffee." I'm like, "Oh my god, we can't."
She's such a baby.
I gotta turn my phone off. It keeps beeping.
She is a baby. I'm not rooting for her.
Um, okay. Now I want to tell you that this weekend I was in Mississippi, I was in Jackson, and then I was in Oxford for the game, which was so fun. Kevin Costner was around. Do you know him?
No, I don't.
Okay, I figured you may have met him along your
Yeah,
way with
I
your
think so, but I don't have any memories.
okay. That would have been my end. Do you know Kimberly? Um,
No one knows me. I just have met them. They don't know me.
and so he was there because his son is looking to go to Ole Miss or whatever. Anyway, we ran into him all over the place. We're like, Kevin, stop following us. God. But it was very fun. It was a packed weekend. They played OU, which is Dave's team, and then he had some friends there. So that was great.
Oh, fun.
Now, I met a girl at the Village Tailor, which is a great store on the square in Oxford, the Village Tailor, and my niece Maggie's friend now owns it. This young lady's, girl boss. And anyway, there's a girl working there. Her name was Beth Mayo. So shout out Beth Mayo, because we just started talking, and My middle sister Tay is like always trying to be like, "Do you guys listen to podcasts? Do you watch reality TV?" She's got a podcast.
So embarrassing. Your
Yeah. And
mom
I was
doesn't.
like, nobody needs to know.
No.
And so Beth said she did watch 90 Day Fiance. And so I go, "Oh, okay. Well, you should listen." I go, "Listen, there might be some bad words, but we're only reporting on what's on our screen."
Yeah.
And she also is very into Bravo. So I was like, "Well, listen on Thursdays." So this will be a good week for Beth because I'll have Landon Bryant on Thursday. He's also a Southerner. Turns out Beth was also had lived in Fairfax County for a while, Fairfax, Virginia, and had moved back to Oxford. So
Where'd
she
you
and I
come
had a lot
from?
in common. That's right. I thought you were from like McLean or something.
Fairfax.
Fairfax.
Yeah. Well, Great
Um,
Falls. Yeah.
mhm. Also, the realtor that we met with when we were at Bald Head Island was from Fairfax.
Hmm.
What do you know?
Small
Anyway,
world. Well, hi,
shout
Beth.
yeah, shout out Beth.
She's
Hey,
getting a big shout out. Hi, Beth.
Beth, you
Hi,
like
Beth.
true crime? Go check out A Date with Dateline. That's Kimberly's podcast.
Yeah.
Katie's there too, the one that hates the Stanley Cups.
Uh-huh.
So no, we love Katie. We
Keeps
joke
it
because we
spicy.
love. We
Yeah, we
joke
joke.
because we love.
But how embarrassed do you get embarrassed when your sister does that? My mom does that. And she'll be
Yeah.
like, "Do you watch podcasts?"
Yeah. I have a lot of like, I have not been able to see your podcast yet. How can I
Yeah.
see your podcast? I
Mhm.
get a lot of that. And this is not from people Beth's age. This is from people,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say between 55 and 85.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fair. Yeah. Everyone at my parents' retirement community has no idea what I
Yes.
do.
Yes. The ladies at the retirement, I'll go, and now my other daughter, Mary Payne, that lives in Virginia. Do you know my other daughter, Mary Payne, that lives in Virginia? This one here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get a lot. Oh, we didn't know you had another sister.
Thanks.
Makes me feel so good every
Yeah.
time. The joke is that my cousin Paige one time said the next time somebody says that to one of my sisters, like, "Oh, we didn't know you had another sister," that my sister should go, "We didn't know either. We just found out."
Oh my God.
And I'm like, "Hey, here
23 and me.
I
It was we just found her.
am." Yeah, it's fun. No,
She's been frogging in our basement the whole time.
she's been living in Canada this whole time.
Yeah, we didn't know.
Listen to her accent. So yeah, I had a great time. I wanted to shout out Beth, new listener, hopefully. Stick with it, Beth. Hit the follow, subscribe, 5-star review. Do all the things,
They're
please.
usually better than this. This is not a good representation, Beth. I'm very tired today.
I'm very tired as well. We could fight over who's more tired, but let's don't do that.
No.
Let's
Mm-mm.
don't do that. Let's talk about this show. Before the
Yeah.
90 days, season 7, episode 9, Things Fall Apart. Thank you, Kimberly. All right, let's start with, I want to make sure that I have these in order really quick though. Vanya, then Brian, then Lauren, then Niles, then Tiger Lily,
God, lots
and
of
then
dramas.
Renee, and then
Oh,
Renee.
freaking okay.
She's getting crazier and crazier. Just when you think maybe she's settled down a little bit,
Yeah.
she goes right back
It's
off the deep
actually
end.
getting concerning. I feel like we're watching someone have a mental breakdown spiral on TV.
There's a person that I used to work with and work for when I was at WorldCom who posts some very concerning visions that they're having constantly on Twitter. Yesterday, I'm sorry to tell everybody, what I saw when I woke up was the color red and da da da. And that means like a red plague is coming. And I'm sorry that I had to be the one to tell you guys this. And then she goes off and like teaches a yoga class, comes back, tells us about the vision that she had. And she saw, 2 trains exploding. She's sorry. She just reports what her visions tell her.
Well, much like us, we're just reporting what these people are doing on 90
Yeah.
Day. Don't blame us for talking about gonorrhea all the time. That's what they're talking about.
Yeah, my
We
former
just bring you
coworker
the news.
just has vision and lets us know. And she's sorry that all of us aren't going to be saved, but
Right.
she is, and so that's all that matters.
She is, yeah. That's good for her. I'm happy for her. I'm a little bummed
Yeah.
for myself, but I wasn't doing anything that exciting anyway. So
Yeah, I'm
I
looking
hope
for.
it waits until after the Taylor Swift concert.
Oh my God, who was I talking to yesterday in the car? Oh, was it Dave? Wasn't Dave? I think it was my sister. I was talking about the space lasers and how
The ones that my people use to
yeah,
control the weather.
those.
Mhm.
Yeah, those. And I was like, being Jewish is pretty good.
Mhm.
Did you know that you could control the weather?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I mean, if that was the case, I would have had a perfect week at Bald Head this August, but no, it rained the whole time.
I know.
Okay, everybody. back to this. Season 7, episode 9, things fall apart. We'll start with Vanya and Bojo. So,
Oh, and you thought we were getting the new person. We still haven't gotten the new guy.
and he's not even on the previews yet.
So not till episode 11, maybe? That's crazy.
I guess he's coming in right in the middle, and I just
Because
think
people are leaving.
I think Renee and Chidi are out, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. After what we saw from the preview, geez.
I
Okay,
hope so.
so Vanya and Bojo, she's in the Frankfurt airport, and he finally answers her call. So she's like, "Oh my god, I didn't want you to. I hope you weren't like at the airport waiting on me." Of course he's not. He's got production. So she says she's arriving late, and he's like, "Oh, are you okay?" And he's all very nice, so she's relieved. But what did he not answer the phone for 24 hours?
There's no confronting him on this, and there's no apology for this.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. So meanwhile, we go to Split, and Bojo is getting ready, and he admits because of talking to his mom, and she basically reminded him he's jobless and lives with his mother and his aunt. He was moving away from her because he talked to his mom, who reminded him that he has no job.
That makes
And
sense.
that makes sense, and you could tell. I think he's very. He does need, what does his mom say? He needs the psychology. Is that what he? That's
Yeah.
what yeah, he does. He needs some psychology.
Yeah.
He goes into the kitchen and he shows his mom and his aunt a plant he found in a dumpster that he's going to give to Vanya.
Wait, he found it in a dumpster?
So I watched it on the airplane on the way home so that I could watch it quickly, so that when I got home, I could quickly do my notes because I would have already seen it. I could
Yeah.
fast forward through your parts. And so I didn't catch that the first time because I was just really
I
listening.
missed that.
I was just kind
He
of
said
listening.
that?
He said, "Look at this beautiful plant. I found it in a dumpster. I'm going to give it to Vanya." And they were like, they literally act like it is a bouquet of gold. They're like, "Oh my God, that plant is so beautiful. That is so wonderful."
That's
And
part of his man-child problem
yeah,
is he's been babied by these women. Everything he does is perfect.
yeah. And they're like, "This is incredible." And he goes, "If you could believe it, she's even more beautiful than this plant." And they're, "Oh my God, that's so you're giving her this plant. So this is the start of your relationship." And he was like, "Yeah, I don't know." So the mom and the aunt, the talking head, are like, "We are so surprised about this whole thing. He hid this relationship for 8 months, but they hope he did that because he knows she's the one, and then he'll move out." So in the car, he's like, and this is another part of his problem. He goes, "I can't believe she's flying all the way here to see me. I feel like I don't deserve it. It's such a compliment. It's such a great feeling that someone like that would want to come here to see me."
Mhm.
So he's got a real battle going on.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And of course, meanwhile, for her, she was like, "I'm so excited. This is the most important trip of my life. We're going to get engaged."
Yeah, no pressure.
Yeah. Meanwhile, he's like crying in his car by himself with a dumpster plant. So
It looked nice,
it totally did. Somebody just like,
and he saved it from death, so I'm happy about
it
that.
was still all in the wrapping and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he's a dumpster diver. So that's okay. So she comes out of customs and he screams, "Fire!" She runs into his arms and he says, "We will have to hug for 2 hours." And she's like, "Oh my God, it's so great." I can tell she seemed like she was crying. And she's standing next to him. Remember, she only wears 5-inch heels. She's standing next to him. And the production says, "Do you have to bend down to hug him?" And he's like, "No, what are you talking about?" And he gets on his tippy toes. But later on, she has on flats and it's way better.
Okay.
Right.
Well,
So
also, she's just better for her feet.
she didn't wear those heels the whole time. She just didn't. There's just no way. When I see people with heels on at the airport, I'm like, "You don't look cool. You look stupid."
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
judging you.
comfortable in my no waistband pants because I don't want anything like touching my skin too much.
Yeah.
Nothing cutting off.
I hear you. I had a belt on with these jeans today. And when I sat down on the airplane, I was like, "Oh no." Just undid it and was like, "I don't
Yeah.
care. I don't care. Nobody can see me." So it's a daylight where they're like doing their talking head together. And when she arrives, it's daylight. But then by the time they get in the car, it's dark. I don't know. What is time on this show?
Mm-mm.
So he goes, "We're going to go do something before you check in." And so she must not be able to check in until nighttime or something.
I would be
And
so tired. I think she's been traveling for like a day.
she's been traveling. And then she was stuck in the airport for like 4 extra hours.
Yeah.
She said she only slept 4 hours.
No, we're gonna go do an activity. No,
Mm.
thank you.
I only slept for 4 hours last night, and I look like I've been dragged behind a car.
I know.
So In the talking head, she says, well, look,
I mean, no, you don't. I didn't mean I know. Like, I meant I know if I do because I'm also tired. I don't mean you look like you
I
would drive.
don't mind if you say that I do because I do. I look like Bianca. My hair is so greasy. So in the talking head, she says, I did wish for a kiss, but I'm glad he didn't do that because most guys are always asking for kisses and more. So I'm glad he was respectful. So sure. So
Mhm.
they're driving and he says, oh, it's so great to see you. We had that long hug. And she's like, more big hugs coming your way. I'm sorry about the coughing. And she says, physical touch is very important to me. There are 5 love languages, and my number 1 is physical touch. Number 2 is gifts. I mean, she's like telling him this. He's like, drive, drive,
Uh-huh.
drive.
He has no idea what's happening. No.
Mm-mm.
He's
Remember, he had that girlfriend for a long time.
right, but he never took her, never gave her gifts, and he never took her on vacation. And that was one of the reasons they broke up. He never put in any effort. He chose his pro amateur career in basketball.
His intramural league
Yeah.
basketball. So in the talking head, he goes, oh, Vanya, she's such a big personality. It's so wonderful. I'm overwhelmed to be with her. But he seems like he's enamored with her, like he's super happy about it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, he
Yeah.
does, but it's almost making him seem shy, and then she starts to think he's not into her
Yeah.
because no one's telling what they're feeling.
It's yes, you're right. It's a lot of
Mhm.
like fake smiling. So they go to a cooking class, and the thing that they made looked delicious. So like
He really did.
rolled out this super thin dough, and then put Swiss chard and garlic and onions in the middle, like super thin, and then another
Mhm.
on top, and then crisped it up.
Yeah,
It looked
it looked
delicious.
delicious.
I was like, "Is there a dip with it?" Because I love a dip,
Yeah, yeah.
like a tzatziki or
Oh,
something.
yeah.
Yeah, looked good. If anybody has a recipe for that doesn't involve so much rolling out of dough,
Yeah.
let me know.
If anybody knows a place I could just buy it,
If
that
I could just buy it or if you could just tell me how to make it with pre-flattened
maybe.
dough,
Yeah.
because that looked like a lot of manual labor. What's for dinner? That's the question in my house every single day. Sometimes at breakfast, sometimes at lunch, but usually right around 3 o'clock. What are we having for dinner? Oh my gosh, inevitably we'll order takeout. It's easier, but oh my gosh, it's never satisfying. I feel gross about it and I spend way too much money. So, if you would rather enjoy a home cooked meal without all that stress of planning ahead, Home Chef makes it really, really easy. I love my meal kits, and being able to have a delicious meal without all that long prep is what drew me to Home Chef over the other guys. Their meals are effortless, even for somebody like me who's not going to go on a competitive cooking show anytime soon. Whether you prefer the classic meal kits, I do. That's what I prefer. They have pre-portioned ingredients, easy instructions, the speedy recipes, sometimes ready in less than 30 minutes. They have oven-ready kits with the pre-chopped ingredients, or you can get these quick microwave meals that assemble in minutes. Home Chef has you and the entire family covered for delicious meals without the hassle. They have over 30 options a week that serves a variety of dietary needs. So you don't have to worry about what to make ahead of time, or this one likes this or this one doesn't like that. Not only is it convenient, but it's economical too. Home Chef customers save an average of $86 a month on groceries. They even have a delicious kid-friendly family menu with 18 new options each week. Is picky eater approved and takes that stress at a dinner time. So for a limited time, Home Chef is offering my listeners 18 free meals plus free dessert for life. Yes. And of course, free shipping on your first box. You're going to go to homechef.com/pinkshade. Homechef.com/pinkshade for 18 free meals and free dessert for life. You heard it right. Homechef.com/pinkshade. You have to be an active subscriber to receive the free dessert. Do it and let me know what you ordered. So they chat with the other couples there in the class, and they're like, oh, how'd you guys meet? Because the couples are like kissing and, how long have you been together? How did you meet? And she says online, he goes, at church. And then they laugh. Oh, like at church online. He goes, yeah, library. No, 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 NASA station. I was like, what are you talking about?
He's like, I thought it was kind of funny.
I think it was funny when he first said library, but then it's the rule of 3. It's like the joke's over. Stop.
Right. Yeah.
He keeps going. He keeps going. And she goes, no, it was online. It was just a swipe right situation. And this is meeting for the first time in person. They're like, oh, wow. And the guy says, is it official or like something in between? Which is a perfect opportunity for him to go, I don't know, something in between, you
Yeah.
know? And he goes, no, we're just friends.
Yeah,
And
that
she,
joke did not land.
and everybody looked around and she goes, what? No, no, we aren't. Why would I come all the way from Orlando? Again, she says Orlando like it's a country.
Right.
Why would, why would I come all the way from Orlando? And he's like, just kidding, just kidding. We are married. My ring is in the car. Crickets. Nobody
So,
laughs.
no one's not working.
Nuh-uh. So in the talking head, she said, my feelings are hurt that he said that. And I thought we had a connection. And I can't make sense of why he would say we're just friends. It was weird. It was
It
weird.
was weird. She kinda gets his sense of humor, but then is not in the mood for it most of the time, it seems like.
She slept for 4 hours. She's not in the
Yeah,
mood.
I don't blame her at
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
Mm.
She's really being spunky to go to this cooking class, you know?
Yeah.
So they drive to this Airbnb where she's staying for 3 weeks, and I noticed when she got out of the car, her foot was in, like, ballet slipper type things, or, like,
Okay.
it almost looked like no-show socks,
Good
honestly.
for her. Yeah.
Yeah, and so he shows her a building, he goes, "You see that building there?" She goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Sigmund Freud stayed there, and also Orson Welles was here." And she goes, "Anybody in this century
That I've
or"
heard of.
yeah.
She
Have you ever
cannot
heard of
be
Taylor Swift,
Yeah.
Beyonce? You know? And she goes, okay, but now Vanya and Bojo. And he's like, uh-huh. So she tells us they never talked about if he would stay with her. And after the cooking class and what he said, she's not going to push it. So they show them going up the elevator. And I was like, is it just me or is that elevator really slow?
Yeah.
Is it because she has so much luggage or it was a little nerve wracking?
She even said, "This is the world's slowest elevator."
It's just like, dun, dun. It's like
It's
ankles.
not like Lily and Josh's elevator.
No, it didn't have music or
Yeah.
pleasant smells or anything.
Yeah, I would be very nervous that I would be trapped in that Airbnb and would die in there.
I would have put the luggage in the elevator, pushed the up button, and walked up. Yeah,
That's smart. Mhm.
maybe that's what they were supposed to do. So, in the talking head, he says, having Vanya in Croatia is great. And, I made a joke at the cooking class and she took offense. So she's really special to me. But, I don't want to make too much of a leap until we know if there's a romantic connection there, which I can understand. But you're already in the car, like gushing. She came
Mhm.
all the way here. I can't believe I don't even deserve it that she came. So maybe right when he saw her, he was like, uh-oh. Like maybe he
That's what
wasn't
I'm
attracted to her.
that's what I'm worried about. Maybe he doesn't like the pink eyeshadow and he's just turned off.
It does look like a Halloween costume.
It's just I think it's very harsh and it makes her look older and it's not super flattering, but it's her choice.
And then again, she hasn't had a shower in like 30 hours. So
That's
nobody's going to look good no matter what they've got on,
that's true.
Also, I'm interviewing her in a month. So I thought she looks great.
I love her.
Yeah.
I
So,
honestly do think she's like a great role model. She's incredibly hardworking
yeah.
and driven, and I think she's smart. That her style is very cute. It's just the makeup is not my favorite, but again, it's her choice.
I know when we met her in New York, she had on like those sparkle decals all over her face. Yeah, I mean, that's just her jam. She just
Yeah.
loves to be like, I mean, she's a belly dancer, she
Yeah.
loves to be sparkly.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so da 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 da. Okay. So she's like, I got you a present, and she shows him the couple car air freshener that she got.
Oh, yeah.
He loves it.
I kinda want one.
I know you want one. I think I've never
Does
had an
he
air.
have a car?
Yeah, well, he's driving her in a car. Maybe it's his mom's.
Okay.
My mom let me borrow the car for the night, and I told her I'd be bring it home by 11. Gotta go. But he loves it. So that shows that she does know his like sense of humor because he was like, look at
Mhm.
us. It's so great.
Mhm.
And then she says, I wanted to show you about my cooking, but, sort of like me on this trip, like the cookies are all smushed up. So
Why
he
did she
tries,
not bring a Tupperware?
I don't know why she put them in a Ziploc bag.
No.
I don't know the answer,
It's a brick of smushed cookies now.
but he shoves it right in and loves it.
He really did. It was a good sport. Yeah.
He's like, oh, these are so good. You're so good,
Mhm.
Vanya. So he's going to take him home to his mom. Look what she made me. She's like, she made you a bag of crumbs. Um, so he's like, yeah, well, I'm really tired. I was like, you're tired? You don't have a job. She
Yeah.
slept for 4 hours. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Um, and she goes, there's a great couch here. And he goes, oh, okay. Anyway, so she goes, oh, I guess I didn't bribe you enough to get you to stay. And he goes, okay, ciao, ciao. See you tomorrow. Bye.
Oh my God.
Didn't hug her goodbye or anything.
No.
It's awkward. So in the talking head, she says, today was a little bit of a shock for me. And so I'm hoping tomorrow there'll be a change in behavior. Yeah, I just think maybe,
I think it's a lot of miscommunications.
I think he's awkward and overwhelmed.
Yes.
And he may be like, I just don't deserve this amazing woman. And like, what am I doing? What do I have to offer her? And maybe he
Yeah.
just feels so bad about himself that he can't, because she's got 4 jobs and she's, world
Mhm.
traveler. I mean, she's got there for 3 weeks. She had to take off work,
Yeah.
All right.
And now she thinks he's not into her.
I mean, she's
I
got a
just
whole house in Orlando all by herself.
Yeah.
Yeah. He could move out of his mom's guest room and let the aunt move in there. Poor aunt's probably sleeping on the couch.
Oh God.
Let Bojo have to bed. Okay. All right, let's move on to Brian and Ingrid. And whoa, did I love how Brian got his comeuppance this week.
Oh, Brian. So he goes to her house because for some reason she has made the terrible decision to have her parents meet him
Mhm,
before they go on vacation to the sea.
mhm.
And so first this little boy, the son, and now the parents. I don't know why she's doing this. 95% of this trip has been a disaster. Like
Yeah.
maybe just wait until the next trip.
Mhm,
So the son goes running up to Brian and Brian like puts him on his lap. And I was like, great, the son is already attached.
mhm.
That's great. And
They
she's
call him
having
Uncle.
uncle. Like that's
Uncle.
not going to be confusing. Once he learns what an uncle is,
He's gonna be like,
unless
whose brother
uncle
is that? Is that
who's
your
right.
brother? Huh?
Yeah, are you sleeping with your brother? I don't understand. But I think they're doing uncle like, like family friend, but still it's
Yeah, I get it, but
I
okay.
don't. So turns out the mom is the only one coming for lunch because the dad has to work. But Brian thinks he just doesn't want to come because Brian's in a wheelchair and the dad is prejudiced.
Oh my God, this guy.
Or he doesn't want his daughter being the 963rd Brazilian woman on this man's roster. And also, the dad is like the same age as Brian. So maybe one of those is the issue and it's not the wheelchair. Or
I
maybe it
definitely
is the wheelchair. I don't know.
I don't think it's the wheelchair. I think
I don't think it's the
I
wheelchair.
mean, maybe because we don't have that experience, maybe we really don't know. But in
Yeah.
my mind, because he is such a bad person,
Yes,
wheelchair is last on his list of problems.
100%.
That's how
So
we see it, but I think maybe he thinks, on initial meeting, maybe
yes,
somebody would think wheelchair, but they could
yes.
get to know you and find out you're really a shitty person with or without the wheelchair, Brian.
I think he uses the wheelchair as an excuse a lot, and because of that, because people don't like him because of the wheelchair, or that's what he thinks, he doesn't have to ever work on his own personality defects.
Mhm.
And so because she rejected me when we were having sex because of my wheelchair. No, it was because you brought her skimpy lingerie the first time you met her and no condom. And then didn't understand consent and making sure she was comfortable, and they got mad at her when she said no.
And
So,
also made her hook up your car system in
yeah,
her black, cocktail dress and then
yeah,
asked her to put a catheter on you while you were nude in the shower.
yeah. Oh, and then lied about your age, and then tried to gaslight her that you didn't try to lie about your age.
So there's some other problems here that don't involve a wheelchair.
It doesn't. And so, but I'm sure he does experience prejudice because
Yes,
of the wheelchair. I'm sure all the time. And we don't know what that's like. But because he has that built in excuse, he never has to look at his behavior.
correct.
Yeah. So Ingrid says, maybe my dad doesn't agree with these sort of things from the internet.
Mhm.
What does that mean?
Like that they met online.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. It's not like rumors about him and all of these, like the wife that he has and all that stuff. Because
No, I think
he's
it's literally just
just that we met
doesn't
online.
agree with that we met online, like online dating or whatever. Yeah.
Okay. So Ingrid says she's much closer to her mom than her dad. And when we meet the mom, that made me very sad for Ingrid because the mom is a cold fish. What is happening?
I'm trying to move my microphone. Yay. Okay, I got it. I got it. All good. You guys, this is not all on video, thank God. But I'm trying to move it because I felt like it was the sound was bouncing. Continue. No, the mom, I think, is probably not a cold fish because she was like working on making the kids bottles and stuff. I
I
think
hope
she is.
so. I think she's maybe just uncomfortable being on camera and uncomfortable meeting Brian.
Yeah. I think she's pissed that her daughter made her come over there and do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Brian forces the mom to give her a hug and she's so uncomfortable. And then he gives her a purse.
Yeah. I was trying, you know me. I was trying to look at it, but I mean,
Yeah.
I think it was a regular purse. It wasn't anything special from
No,
what I
I
could
think he
tell.
got it at like the market there, like one of
Yeah.
the, outdoor markets or whatever.
I don't think he
So
went to like the Coach outlet and got her a
no,
Coach
no.
bag or anything like that. No.
So Brian says, "So your husband is at work?" And the mom says, "Yes." "What does he do?" And the mom says nothing. And Ingrid says, "Mom, tell Brian what dad does. Talk to Brian." And the mom's like, "Machine operator, tractor,
No,
soy,
she didn't even say
rice,
tractor. She said machine operator. And then Ingrid goes, tractor. And he's like,
tractor,
oh, tractor big. And she's like, soy,
rice."
rice, farming.
Brian is I despise Brian, but he's really trying. He's trying to make conversation. He has a smile and he speaks the language, which is more than most people on the show. So
Correct.
that I will give him, and she's giving him nothing back.
No, that would be, listen, you and I could talk to a wall.
Yeah.
And that would be hard even for me. I was like,
Mhm.
that's so uncomfortable. And you're like,
So
so you come here often?
yeah,
It's
nothing.
crazy. It's so
The
warm
weather
outside.
is so
Mm.
beautiful.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's weird. It's wild. Yeah.
So Brian finally is like, well, he kind of lost me here. He goes, "I think Ingrid should come visit me. I mean, I came all this way in a wheelchair. I think she could come visit me." Okay, first of all, you bragged incessantly about how easy it is for you to travel in the
Mhm,
wheelchair. So now
mhm,
you can't throw that in her face.
mhm,
D, she has a toddler in diapers.
mhm.
So it's not that easy for her. C, you have made a billion trips to Brazil for your sex tourism, and there will be a billion more after this, unless the country bans you, which is something the government should be looking into.
Between that and Garrick Merrifield, they should be banned from Brazil, yes.
Banned from Brazil. So he doesn't know if it's the wheelchair or the fact that he's American. I mean, it could be either of those things,
Mhm.
or it could be that you're the dad's age or a sex tourist who tried to buy her off with a cheap purse. There's
And you're
any
currently married to someone else,
and
yeah.
you're also married to another. All of these things would bother most parents who are,
Yeah,
like, looking at a future son-in-law.
yeah.
So, the mom is being rude, though. She's being
Very.
very rude, at least according to our culture. Like, in America, that would be considered very rude.
Yeah.
So, the producers ask her, "What's your impression of Brian?" And she goes, "Nothing good." But she won't say why yet. And then Brian and Ingrid go to the table. Ingrid's made this huge lunch, and the mom says, "I'm not hungry anymore," and like won't even sit at the table with them while they're eating. She just stands in the kitchen. She's crazy.
She's cleaning the bottles and stuff. Like, no, I'm just here to help with the baby. I'm just here to be the babysitter. I'm not eating. And it looks like Ingrid has made like 3 or 4 big pots of food.
Yeah, it's. I was blown away. So then Brian says, "I can't believe the mom has the audacity to do this." But now again, he gets to be the victim because now someone doesn't like him because of the wheelchair. So he said, the mom finally says, you know, "What do you think of Brian?" And she says, "Well, my husband and I don't accept him." And the producer says, "Why?" And she just says, "Because." And the producer's like, "Is it because of the wheelchair?" She says, "No, I have no prejudice with the wheelchair. Why does she want to marry someone from another country? She's our only daughter. She has to stay close to us. We don't want her to leave."
Mhm.
So do you think that that's true? That that's the reason?
I think that it's because he's 51. So
Mhm.
let's just say let's say mom still thinks he's 45.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think it's because he's too old for her. She has
Mhm.
two little kids that are their only grandkids.
Mhm.
And I think it's like she met him on the internet. She's like, I'm
Yeah.
sure he's some kind of a scammer because the
Mhm.
parents don't understand the internet. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's all of it. And I think right when she arrived, she got a smarmy vibe from him. You know, with
100%.
that whole like, give me a hug. I got you a
Uh-huh.
purse.
No, it's
Here's a purse
creepy.
for you. And she's
Yeah.
like, who the fuck are you? Get away from me. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So they go inside and he tries again. "You missed a good lunch," you know. Did she tell you we're going to the sea because you're
Mhm.
going on this vacation?" And she says, "Well, it's lucky your father doesn't know because he wouldn't let you go." Which is very interesting dynamics because Ingrid is 32. And
Mhm.
she says, "Sometimes I have to lie to my dad and tell him I'm taking a class or something if I want to go out." And we've seen this before, especially in, like, Latin American families with
Yeah.
daughters. I'm thinking of Thais. I'm thinking of Clayton and Annalise,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Good. That's a
um,
good one. Yeah, that was a
who
good
she
one.
didn't even tell about Clayton because he didn't want her to date at all. Like, there's it's very interesting, and Brian is like, "Okay, you're a little old for that. Like, you have 2 children. You have
Right.
to, like, sneak out of the house,
Yeah.
out of your own house."
Yeah.
Like,
Right. Right.
Um, so Brian hugs the mom goodbye and says, "I apologize if I did anything to upset you." And the mom just looks away and says, "No." Like, she won't even look at him. And
Mm-mm.
so he leaves. And then Ingrid says, "Why didn't you eat with us?" And the mom says, "I didn't want to." And so now Ingrid thinks that it might be the wheelchair.
Mhm.
And so just no one is talking about what's going on. I think Brian would move to Brazil, maybe. He loves Brazil.
He should move to Brazil. I mean, he speaks the language. He can drive there. He's an
Yeah.
Uber driver. Go ahead and just do it.
Yeah. However, Ingrid's friend had said that Ingrid wanted to move to America, although she
Mhm.
hasn't said that. So
Mhm.
I don't
Mhm.
know. I mean, we're jumping way ahead here, but it
Do we know
doesn't
if we
necessarily.
don't know if he's ever brought any women to America, if all the women he's been married to and engaged to, if they've ever made it through like K-1
Right.
visa or spousal visa or anything. We don't know.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't know, but it's fascinating.
It's fascinating. And the mom was rude. I can agree with that. And I think, now knowing that this is their only child who
Yeah.
has their only grandchildren, they're like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
She said she would have to lie to her dad and say she was going to esthetician school. So she must be studying to be an esthetician.
Yeah. I think so.
That's interesting. And so where is she when she's going to Recife to the sea, where is she who were the kids staying with? What
I'm sure they stay with the grandparents.
was and so she just said, I'm going to a esthetician class for 3 days.
Yeah. It's a
And I'm gonna
conference.
come back with a tan? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a conference, yeah, by the sea. So, all right, speaking of the sea, let's move to Lauren and Faith. So
Speaking
the
of banning people from countries, they might wanna consider banning Lauren because he's not only bringing, sex tourism, he's bringing heartbreak and gonorrhea to their country.
Yeah, exactly. So they go to a beautiful little private island in Leyte. Leyte. I'm gonna say it wrong because I had it phonetically spelled before and I've erased those notes. Lauren is so white, he makes me look tan.
Yeah.
He is so milky smooth and pale. So I said, in addition to doing the heat training, he should have done some sun training.
Mhm.
So
Oh, yeah.
she remember when he's
In
at heat training in that bathroom?
the bathroom,
Yeah,
boiling the, like, crabs or whatever
yeah,
in a
yeah,
bathroom.
yeah. It was like, oh, they're
So
delicious.
weird.
Crunch, crunch, crunch.
Oh my
So
god.
she's putting on lotion after they've done the swimming, and he says, "How about I do that for you?" Right? And
Ugh.
she goes, "Okay." And he goes, I do things for you all day, every day, right? How about foot massage? Yeah. Because he's speaking to her in that weird,
Yeah.
I don't speak English type of way.
Uh-huh. It gives me the whole thing gives me the willies.
So he rubs her feet. Now she tells him a heartbreaking story.
Yeah.
which makes us just love Faith even more. And she says when she was around 13, her father died of a heart attack, and her mother was unable to work because she had to stay home and take care of 2-year-old twins. So she and her two older siblings, so three, there's 5 kids total. She and her two older siblings went off to work. They decided to help their mom. And she said, being poor is very hard. And she said, I was the only one that went all the way to Manila. And it was very hard for me. And it was very sad. I missed my family, but I ended up finishing my high school education and being able to help my family a little. And she's crying in her talking head. She says, I was able to finish high school as a working student and send small amounts back. And I hope that they're proud of me. I mean, she's amazing. She's amazing.
I love her so much. I couldn't root for her more.
She's 13 and went off to like the capital city by herself.
Oh, so brave.
I mean, what did she do? I mean, she had to have a place to live. Did she go to work at that hotel and worked her way up to manager? Like, I don't know.
Oh, it makes me sad.
I'd really like to know what she did at age 13. It's interesting, though, that she was able to do that and finish her degree. You would think that, oh, well, now you're just working and you're 13. I mean, you
Yes.
see that like in America. I mean, you see that some in
Yeah.
like farm families. The kids will just, at some point, they
Mm-hmm.
just stop going to school so they can work on the farm.
Yeah.
So,
She
um,
was hardworking and did it all.
okay. So he tells her, look, I love you for how amazing you are. And I want to be a part of that. I want to help your mom, buy a house for only 2,000 American dollars, of which I only have 46. And I want to help your brothers go to school. So we will be teammates. Okay, now let's look at this. So Faith is 31. 31 minus 13, 8, 9, 10. So the brothers must be 18. I'm doing the math on that. The brothers must be 18. So he wants to help the brothers go to school, maybe go to college. And he says, we will be teammates. In her talking head, she says, I've never had a teammate in my life. It's always been on me to be the provider. And I hope Lauren can be that person, but it's hard for me to trust Lauren. And so he says, but
Sorry, guys. I snuck off to go to the bathroom.
yeah.
I had this Stanley cup is too much liquid for me.
So what I was saying is he was just telling her like how amazing she is, and he wants to be a part of her family by helping out the mom, helping out the brothers go to school. And I was trying to figure out, I was trying to do math, and you know that I can't. She's 31. The dad died when she was 13, and the brothers were 2. So does that make the brothers now 16 or 18? Was it
Unsure.
31 minus 13? So
But he knows exactly what to say. Like
totally.
like he's studied a manual on love bombing and gaslighting.
Yeah.
Like he hears, oh, you've been working so hard to support your whole family. Well, now you're part of a team. I'm your team member.
hmm
I
Yeah.
have your back.
She says she's never had a teammate. It's always been on her to be the provider, and she hopes he could be that person, but it's hard for her to trust him. And so he says, so are you okay with me meeting them, your family? And she says, yes, yeah, I am okay with it, but I am nervous about it. And he says, do you think you are going to tell them what I did? And
Do you tell family gonorrhea?
STD, splooging penis. What did he say?
Sludge?
Sludge?
Was
Do you tell family penis sludge?
leaky penis?
Leaky
Sludge?
penis? And he says,
Apologies to the listener.
sorry guys.
Make it stop.
Sorry guys.
What's the new listener's name? Beth? Poor
Sorry,
Beth.
Sorry, Beth. And he says, he goes, because if you do, that'll be a whole thing. Smile, smile, gonorrhea, smile. He's, I want to help your family. I'm going to give you lots of money. So if you tell them what I
Don't
did,
tell
that's going to be
them.
bad.
Mhm.
hmm Okay. Speaking of disappointing family, let's go to Niles and Matilda.
Oh, God. This was rough.
Poor
So
Niles.
he has just finally told her the news that he is not going to marry her on this trip. although I still kind of think he's going to give in and marry her. So she's stormed out and gone to a production van, and Niles goes out to the van and she says, "What do you want me to tell my family, my pastor, my friends, my whole village?" And
Yeah.
he says, "Okay, I have to ask you, and this is probably not the right time. Did you ever hear me specifically say that I agreed to marry you on this trip?" Now, he's trying to make
Niles.
himself not have messed up by falling on some technicality.
Right.
Like, I never actually said we're getting married on this trip. Even if that was true, we saw you multiple times on camera listening to her planning the wedding and not correcting her.
And saying,
And
I'm so
telling
excited when you get,
producers,
yeah,
yeah, I'm so excited. And telling producers, I'm so scared to tell her that we're not getting married on this trip, which means that you knew she thought you were getting married on this trip.
I know. I know.
So she's like, "Is this a prank? Please tell me this is a prank. Is Ashton Kutcher here? Am I unpunked? What's happening?" And he says, "I told you so many times on the phone that I couldn't get married on this trip." And she's like, "Stop lying. One of us is lying and it's not me." And he says, "I don't think either of us are lying." He says, "It may look like I'm lying, but I thought I was clear that we weren't getting married on this trip." And so he's sitting in his talking head now, and the producer calls him on it. He
Yeah.
says, "Niles, there were plenty of times where she was planning the wedding and you didn't stop her. We all saw it." And he says, "No, I did. I said, 'Hold on, Matilda. I can't get married on this trip for the wedding. And we can't be doing this.'" And I was like, does he actually believe that? Or is this his autism spectrum disorder masking thing? Or is he just lying and now trying to gaslight the producer? And
Right.
so the producer says, "No, you have told us that you were scared because you hadn't told her the truth and you knew you had to tell her the truth."
And he's like, oh, yeah.
Oh,
Forgot about
yeah.
that. Yeah.
And then he says, "This is an example of how I struggle with social skills. Sometimes I don't know where I go into a mode where I don't tell the full truth because I don't want to upset someone." And so I don't know if he's actually saying like he doesn't realize he's doing it, that he's lying.
Hmm.
Um, Although he did realize it because he was worried the whole trip about telling her the truth. So you understood that part. Um,
I think, but now when he's confronted with his lie,
yeah.
he doesn't know how to handle it. So he's like covering it with a lie, like,
Hmm.
oh, if I just act like everything's okay, no, maybe nobody will notice, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
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 He doesn't want conflict with the producer. He's like an ultimate people pleaser to the point that he is a pathological liar.
Yeah.
It's like Submit almost. Submit would do the same thing to Jenny. Like, just deny, deny, deny. Don't cause conflict. Just lie. Even when confronted, you just keep lying.
Fully married to another person for 2
Yeah.
years. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Hmm.
Because he didn't want to cause a stir,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Right.
Like
Right.
Gino does the same thing too.
Oh God,
So
Gino. Yeah.
yeah. So finally they go to the hotel, and this is where he finally like stops doing this lying thing, and he says, "I You have every right to be mad. I had multiple opportunities to come clean and I didn't. And that's not right." And so he's like trying to appease her. He says, "Let's do this. I'll do the knock door ceremony and everything up to the wedding, except the wedding."
Hmm.
And he says, "I just want to go back to America and get things in order so that I can come back and get married." I wish he was telling her all the reasons. A, the money. He wants to give her a better life and a better wedding and all of that. So he needs to save money. B, his family's not on board. And that's important for her culture to have his family, and they don't agree with this.
Hmm.
So he needs to work on that. And they're still getting to know each other. They just met in person. So, like,
Yeah.
he has some good reasons.
Yeah. I mean, the money thing is like big. He doesn't know the bride price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they hold hands, and it seems like she's forgiven him. She's like, has her head on his shoulder. And he says, "You've just seen what masking is with my autism spectrum disorder, where to keep you happy and to avoid conflict, I wasn't honest." And she says, "I would be less mad if you had just been direct and told me much earlier and just told me, you know?"
Yeah.
And she says, "I think I understand. And I understand how his difficulty communicating is making things more complicated, but I'm starting to see it in person and I get it. And she says, I'll wait until you're ready. This was like
Hmm.
not the way I saw this happening at all.
Me either. And I don't know if the production talked to her to say, like, he has admitted it, he feels really bad, he's doing
Mhm.
this masking thing, it's part
Yeah.
of, autism. I don't know, I think I kind of feel like she really loves him.
I want to believe that so much. I know
Mhm.
she really wants to go to America and get out of her village, but I also think she really likes him or loves him. I
Yeah,
really do.
yeah,
She's horny for him.
for sure.
So, like, I'm still very much rooting for them. But so now he says, this ring is a promise that 100% I'm coming back to marry you. And I will explain that to your family and I'll do the knocking. And she says, okay, but she's worried because this is a break in tradition, the way it's normally done. And she's worried that her family is not going to accept him because of this.
Yeah, because normally you do the knock door and you get married,
And
like,
you get married right away. Yeah.
right, like, the next day, yeah.
Hmm.
It's like the rehearsal dinner almost, you know?
Yeah.
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 Um, okay. Tiger Lily and Adon. So Tiger Lily is going to Cruz's salon and she's going to see Adnan the next day. It's been 6 weeks and we've been fighting. So she takes a bunch of clothes to give Cruz to give to Shay because they're clothes she can't wear anymore because she's not allowed to. And she goes, I mean, some of these clothes were new and like the world hasn't gotten to see me in some of these clothes yet. And that's really disappointing.
Let's all pour one out for the world because we
Hmm.
didn't get to see her in these
The
clothes.
world. The world didn't get to
So
see
sad.
it.
Yeah,
So he's talking about her upcoming trip to Turkey. They're meeting in Turkey because she goes, because what's going on in the Middle East in
that I don't
general.
understand the details or know really about, but someone told me on the news.
And also in Turkey, it's okay if I show my belly button. So she tells Cruz the story, but she was like, I hurt my neck and my back. And so I had to go to my chiropractor. And Adnan did not even know what that meant or what that was. So he looked up a video and then he sent it to me on DM. And it was like this man cracking this woman's back. I didn't even know who these people were. And he was like, no, I do not accept this. And I'm like, who is this guy? It's like this big guy. But honestly, my chiropractor is hotter. I was like, oh God, that's not going to go over well.
No.
So she is telling Cruz that he has an issue with her male healthcare practitioner. I didn't know she knew such big words.
Yeah.
Her, her male healthcare practitioner and wants her to only have women healthcare providers. So she says, so the next morning, I was like super upset and just didn't take his calls. And then he got so upset, he had to go to the hospital. Chris was like, what? And she goes, yeah, it was like he had a panic attack or something because I wouldn't answer his calls. And Cruz goes, he's just trying to manipulate you. Cruz did not want to
Mm-mm.
hear this bullshit for 1 second. He
And
goes,
Cruz is wearing a shirt with tigers all over it and like Adidas racing stripes around the sleeves and the waistband. It's like a running track
I think it's a Gucci Adidas.
tiger.
It's a Gucci Adidas tracksuit, is
Yeah,
what
with
it
his
is.
new braided man bun,
Yeah.
half shaved hairstyle.
I was interested to see if he took that down, how long it would be because that bun was big.
Big, thick. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Where is
yeah,
Shay also? Because why is she allowed to be there with Cruz alone?
I guess maybe female production is there. I don't
That's what
know.
I was wondering. Is there a female producer there? Yeah.
So then Cruz is like, yeah, I think he's just trying to manipulate you with this, and her talking and she goes, yeah, I mean, he had to go to the hospital, but he was fine. He was totally trying to play it up for sympathy. I mean, he is what, 23 years old,
That's the whole thing is she married a 23-year-old
Mhm.
and doesn't understand that he's immature and has
I
no
mean,
experience in relationships. She's in her 40s.
she's 41, has 2 kids, has had a whole life where
Yeah.
she probably does know how to, like, pay her phone bill and her mortgage and her car payment, and you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
he's been living with his mom.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it's kinda like Vanya and Bojo, except for less
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
Um, so Cruz is like, "Look, he's a grown man. he knows he needs to learn how to deal with his emotions. And she goes, yeah, I know. And we have to get these problems under control because this trip to Turkey is really for baby making. And the talking head cruise goes, this is completely
Yeah.
crazy. They need to get their situation straight before they start procreating. And she does say, she's like, I'm older than when I had my other kids. So I don't even know if we have to like time my trips to like when my cycle is. I was like, well, if you stay for a month, it'll probably hit it at some point.
Yeah.
Um, so now we see Tiger Lily heading to the airport. By the way, she is in a great traveling outfit.
Yeah.
She had on that long, like silk quilted coat. She
Mhm.
could use it for a blanket, like Uggs, like soft leggings. She was
Yes.
in a perfect
Comfy.
yes,
Mhm.
comfy. So she said, the trip is supposed to be about baby making, but all I can think about is our issues. Let's stop saying baby making. Let's
No, can she just keep that door closed until they
mm,
figure this out and get
keep
a
that door
divorce?
closed.
That's the
Don't
door.
don't get any of those blue pills from Favorite Brothers there.
He's gonna
No.
come knocking on that door, doing a knock door ceremony. She needs to be like,
What's she gonna do about her hair and her makeup while she's there?
I
Who's
don't
gonna
know. How does that last? I don't because it's fake hair. Like he curls it the day before she flies for a full day, and it's still gonna look good. And
I guess because of the extensions are fake, but
then
how's she gonna fix it herself when she's there for a week or
well,
however long she's
when
gonna be
she
there?
was in Jordan, they had the hotel people come up. She
Right.
called down and said, "Can you send somebody up to do my hair who
Yeah.
has a vagina preferably?"
Yeah,
Um,
no. Yeah, right,
but
right.
they didn't have somebody. So then he had to
Mm,
watch. Remember, he set a
mm.
timer on his phone, 5
5
minutes,
minutes,
and I'm
5
watching.
minutes. So, Adnan has arrived in Turkey, and he tells us about his little hissy fit that he had when Tiger Lily went to the chiropractor. And he goes, I don't know. She can just go to a woman doctor. It is easy. Why make a problem? Have a big mind, not small like children. And I think when she
The
sees
same can
me,
be said for him.
oh, totally. That's why he doesn't get it. He doesn't, and he's probably not ever going to. And he says, I think when she sees me, she'll forget everything that made her mad and she'll be so happy just to see me. Well, that's what you
Mhm.
think, buddy.
'Cause he thinks he's super hot.
Hmm.
'Cause he's a model? Question mark?
Question mark. Um, Talking head, she's on the plane and she says, before I got on the plane, I was bored and scrolling social media, and I came across a story that Adnan posted where he was coming out of a shower and he was like all steamy with no shirt on. And I sent him a DM and I said, delete it because that's what he does to me. And he said, no, because he's a man and it's okay to show his chest. And I'm just going to add that to my list. It is not okay. I'm tired of it and I'm not gonna put up with it. Do we believe her?
No.
Neither. Okay. Let's end with Renee and Chidi. This might be the last time we ever see them next week, guys. Somebody's going down. I don't know who it's going to
It
be.
has to. Yeah. So she's still in Lagos at the hotel because
Yeah.
she's waiting for him to like show up with flowers and everything will be better. So she's
Right.
not flying home.
Hmm.
She says he let his false faith get in the way. She's
His
still
false faith.
doing that judgy thing.
Yeah. Okay.
So she's looking out the window very stoically, like she's shooting a Dateline B-roll or waiting
Yeah.
for her husband to come home from war in World War II, like very dramatically. And she explains why she's like this. When she was 3 months pregnant with her daughter, the father just left. And then other guys she dated had drug problems. She said there was no love, no warmth. And all of this is very sad, but you are grown. That does not excuse your behavior anymore.
None of this excuses how she has acted towards other people.
No. And she's like, I want to leave and fly home to America, but something won't let me go. And I was like, go remind her how they kill chickens in the market. Get her to leave this land and this man.
She has
So
a dark force holding her there.
it's like a
Hmm.
beam by
Hmm.
aliens. That's what
Hmm. Hmm.
she's being held on the ground. We just did that for Patreon,
Hmm.
Unsolved Mysteries.
Hmm.
So meanwhile, Chidi is very sad. He's waxing poetic about the unity he wanted between his sister and Renee is being ripped to shreds. And he goes to his brother-in-law and sister Victoria and Bernard, and they're like, what's going on? And he says, well, my utmost desire is to have Renee back. And Renee, Victoria like raises her eyebrows out of her head. Like, I know you couldn't see when she poked her finger in my face, but I know you heard her yelling at me, right? Were you there for that? And she was screaming about programming and the beginning of the world.
What happened? Earth is welcome to the program.
Yeah. And the brother-in-law says, I'm not sure I'm getting it. Like, her? Is she funny? What's happening? So Chidi says, well, I have compassion for her because she's been mistreated in previous relationships by toxic men.
Okay.
That's not your problem, Chidi. Also, she has said the same thing about how you were treating her and your family, and you are the most lovely people we've seen on this show.
Totally.
So I hate to say it, but it does make me second guess some of her stories about her past. She might be the Renee who cried wolf. I don't know. Or it was horrible and they made her this way. But
do you know what the biggest enemy of a chicken is?
Renee. What?
A wolf.
A wolf. So he says, I promised her I would always be there for her. And because I can't see, I've experienced how compassion and love from others can lift your soul. And I want to do that for her. And I promise. He's very stuck in this wanting to be a good guy or wanting to appear like he's a good guy. And that is what's holding him back. I don't think he's into her at all anymore. But he's like, I feel so bad for her because she's been through so much. And I promised that I would love her forever. So I need to keep that promise, right?
It's like he wants to rescue her.
Yeah. And Victoria says, you're in love and that makes people dumb. I understand that. And she says, I will step aside if you want to be with her and you want to be happy because I want that for you. And she says, I'm not asking you to choose us over her like Renee is.
Right.
If someone's making you choose, maybe don't choose them. So Victoria is talking to the producers and she starts crying and she's like, I want him to be happy. I want him to get married and find love and I won't stand in his way, but this is going to be a disaster. So then cut to Renee in the hotel. She's washing her clothes in the bathtub and smelling her clean socks and talking to herself and she's filming herself and she's clearly very lonely and doesn't have chickens to talk to. So
that was weird.
Muttering on.
That was weird.
Yeah. And she says she and Chidi have texted. She's repeatedly invited him to the hotel to talk. And every night she waits by the door, but he hasn't come.
That's a big hotel room too.
Yeah. She says, like, is she lying on the floor next to the door? Like,
it's like Charlie Brown at the mailbox at Valentine's, you know? Yeah.
So then she says the most mind-blowing statement of all time. I can't figure out why he doesn't like me now.
Really?
You caused a scene at the market and threatened to kill the chicken man and the sister. You mocked his religious beliefs repeatedly. You behaved abominably in front of his family who welcomed you into their home. You flared your nostrils all over his country.
You got mad because he wouldn't sleep with you.
You tried to pressure him into sex. Yeah. You were guiding him and he bumped into several things. So you're not even a good guide. You also said you're glad that he's blind.
Now, she did take him to an eye doctor.
She did take him to an eye doctor, but she was actually kind of relieved when he couldn't see again. Let's be real. So, but why doesn't he like me anymore?
Because you've threatened violence against every member of his family and said that they were in a Earth program and there was demons. And then we read that she also said that like they would have sex and the vampires would feast on their blood. I mean, she said some weird shit, guys, some real weird shit. Yeah.
Like, I don't think he wants to be with someone where you would have to remove the knives from the kitchen because you don't know what she would do with them.
Yeah. Right.
And she refuses to get any sort of help for these issues.
Right.
So, meanwhile, Chidi says, I've always forgiven Renee in the past for her transgressions, but this time I'm not sure. And one thing I totally forgot to mention, when they were fighting at the park that time and she was apologizing for one of her many outbursts, he had said, "It's very strange. This is the first time in 5 years that she's apologized for anything," which was
Mm.
a huge red flag that I just brushed right over.
There's so many other ones. I mean, that's just like so minor compared to
Yeah.
everything else. But yeah,
And now she keeps apologizing, kind of, but not really. She's blaming other people. She's a big blamer. It's all Victoria's fault. So
yeah.
he's like, I keep forgiving her. How many times can I do this?
Hmm.
And so he goes to meet with his very sweet friend and he tells the friend everything. And the friend says, "Yeah, she
The friend was hot.
super hot."
Yeah.
He's his friend from like school for the blind
Yeah.
because his
Hmm.
friend is vision impaired, and his friend like keeps holding Chidi's hand to give him strength to break up with Renee.
It
It's
was
very
sweet. It
cute.
was
And
cute.
so he says, "Yeah, Renee has been telling me, or Chidi's been telling me for years that he loves Renee, but I don't get it." Because he says she talks about scary things like demons that really
Hmm.
freak Chidi out.
Hmm.
So what's he getting out of this relationship? And so Chidi says, she's always yelling and cussing when we're on video calls and on the phone, but I thought in person she'd be respectful in front of my family.
Oh, okay. What made you think that?
What you lost that bet, my friend. That no. I don't think she has any control over herself in those moments. She sees red like a rabid dog.
Yeah, I agree.
You cannot talk to her in those
Mm-mm.
moments. So the
I
friend
agree.
says, which maybe is like PTSD or something, she needs help for this.
Yes, I
So
agree.
um the friend says, "So if you like marry her, you're with her for life, you have to manage her temperament. Like, can you deal with this for the rest of your life?" And Chidi says, "I don't know. I really am try to be very calm and I don't raise my voice and I like things calm. And because I can't see, the noises and the shouting really disorient me and confuse me and are very upsetting to me." So her entire personality is very upsetting to me.
Hmm.
And I don't know if I can put up with this, but I love her. I'm confused.
Yeah.
And the friend holds his hand and says, "You need to just end it. It's not working." And Chidi says, "It's not that easy. I love her. I'm supposed to support her. I promised her." And the friend says, "If you love someone, let them go." Essentially, and that good pearl of wisdom. And he says, "You need to go talk to her and tell her that it's over." And this I didn't like. I think the friend needs to go with Chidi for backup
Mm.
because
Yeah.
Renee can suck Chidi back in, and so he needs like a team to go with him. He needs Victoria, Bernard, the baby, the friend,
The baby.
like everybody needs to go as like stand behind him as backup because she is like a siren song that could pull him back in. She'll like
Well,
cry and do her fake tears and he'll go, "Okay, I
you know,
forgive
but
you."
I don't like that either because it is ganging up on her. She could have one person. She could have one person on her side, and
Yeah,
it could be one person on his side, and then
like a
they could,
duel, like
yeah,
Hamilton.
yes, and then they can force them to break up because the people on the other side will want them to break up as well.
I hope so. Yeah. So now we have the most awkward filming self film. She's filming herself in the hotel room
Hmm.
and she's wearing this little lacy pajama set that
Hmm.
she's gotten.
Hmm.
She wants to seduce him, and she
Hmm.
says once he touches this sexy outfit, he'll realize how much his family has torn us apart.
She is on something because she has gone from wearing like baggy sweatshirts and saying she's so uncomfortable with her looks and her body. And that's why she's so happy to have a guy that's blind so he can't
Right.
really see what she looks like. And
Yes.
now she is rolling around in the bed like a Playboy photo shoot in
She's
this.
like Tawny Katane on the hood of a car.
Yes. And she literally at one point
That's a
stands up and
current
like,
references only.
yeah, that's right. That's what we do here, guys. White snake. Here I go again on my own. It's it literally like shows her ass.
She shows her ass. Like, I'm glad she's feeling herself now and gotten
Yeah,
her groove back because
sure.
she did want a blind boyfriend because she was so self-conscious, but this is horrible. One thing that's horrible is, yes, she does appear to be on something. The other thing is that he has very clearly told her that he wants to wait until marriage. So
Right.
you trying to seduce him and make him give up that vow is so icky.
Yeah, it's like he's coming over here tonight, and I'm gonna have him touch this lace, and ooh, this pink lace is stretchy. Anyway, the whole thing was so bizarre. She was like, I finally, got in a good mood today and left my hotel room and I went and bought this thing. And then she's like rolling around on the bed like she's on OnlyFans. You're like, what are we doing?
It's
What's happening?
so strange. And now she's going to be a predator and like seduce him. But he just texted and said, I want to talk tomorrow because the friend told him you need to like break up with her in person. But she
Mm,
thinks, oh, this is my chance. We're getting back together.
yeah. Yeah.
And I'm going to tear him away from his family.
Is this where she says he needs to open his eyes really, really wide to see what's
Yes.
right in front of him?
I know he can't see, but he needs to open his eyes and see. Yeah.
She said he needs to open his eyes really wide and see what's right in front of him.
Yeah. She really loves the like, you'll never see me again.
Yeah.
Why
See you
can't
later.
you see what's in front of me? Yeah. Let's go visit the sea. She just
Have you heard of that band Blind Melon? Okay. All right.
horrible.
We're terrible. Okay. Next time on Before the 90 Days, Vanya and Bojo do some touring stuff and they act silly. And she's like, okay, this is the guy, I met. And she tells him, I'm just so glad to be here with you. I think we're really clicking. And he goes, oh, yeah. And she goes, I mean, we're not just friends. And then he looks at her like, what? And she goes, like, do you think there's chemistry between us? And he goes, romantically? Like,
Oh my God, dude, what she flew here. What do you think this was for? You met on a dating app.
it's, I don't know. I don't know if he's just not attracted to her and he was like surprised when she landed, like, I'm not attracted to her, or he's so intimidated because she is so accomplished and beautiful and maybe he's super intimidated by that. I don't know.
It's bizarre.
Um, Rory and Vea meet up by the sea.
Is he gay?
And who? Bojo?
Yeah.
I don't know. You'd have to ask Bojo. I don't know. But he was with that other woman for 6 years, but treated her terribly. So I
Yeah.
don't know. Maybe. Everything's in play. Everything's in play with Bojo. We don't know
Yeah.
what's
No
going on.
one is saying the truth or what they're actually feeling. And so it's just so
Everybody, it's a
awkward.
guess. It's a guess.
Yeah.
So Rory and Vea meet up by the sea, and Rory tells her, you need to really open up to Sonny and tell him what's going on with you. Because if he really knew the ins and outs, he could understand you. And basically, Rory's like, she has been through some terrible shit. And if
Yeah.
she hasn't told him all this, then he doesn't understand, why she would need a traveling companion
Right.
So she sends him a text and asks him to meet up. Can you and your eyebrows meet me at 3 p.m. by the sea?
Yeah.
So now we see Niles doing the knock door ceremony. Nobody seems happy.
It's so awkward. I hope it's just editing.
I hope it's editing, but also the girl that I guess is her sister looked just like her.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, looked just like her. Um, Adnan and Tiger Lily get
I
together.
just really wish he had had a companion come with him. Like
I know.
Vea got a companion. Can we get Niles a companion?
I agree.
They could have helped navigate some of this for him.
I agree. Adnan and Tiger Lily get together and she goes, so why are you acting like everything is fine? He's like, what do you mean, baby? And she goes, would you like it if I got out of the shower and took a photo with my shirt off? And in the talking head, he goes, Tiger Lily liked to make a problem with me. I am done. And he stands up and walks off. She says, where are you going, baby? We're supposed to be baby making baby. So now we see a very chilling scene by the sea, which is Renee is yelling at Chidi and she says, you know what? It's the same thing over and over. I see you're still sucking your sister's tits. You sharing the milk or what? What are you talking about? That is disgusting.
Her eyes are popping out of her head.
That's disgusting.
Well, we've heard people call people little titty boys on this show before. I think it was on this show, one of the shows.
Yeah. Well, that's a Southern phrase. I'm
Yeah.
not proud to be a part of.
Don't say that to Chidi. Chidi is like very reserved and conservative and religious. And
She says things just to shock him.
shock him, and she's screaming at him in public too. Like he's already probably disoriented. Like,
Right.
don't, what the heck? This is how you're gonna win him back by being so aggressive. This is just gonna prove that he needs to walk away.
in the talking head, he says, she just says whatever comes to her head. And I think she just pushes love away. And he says to her, if you want people to love you and to respect you, you have to learn to respect others. With this kind of attitude, there is no way your relationships will be healthy. It is sad.
100%.
I'm
Everything
so,
she's
yes,
accuses other people of is what her behavior is.
I'm so glad he stood up for himself.
Mhm.
And she goes, you better learn to chill because you're messing with the wrong freaking ass person. And everybody on the beach scampered in fear.
I feel so badly for her children because the daughter is like a teenager. Can you
Yeah.
imagine your mom is rolling around in sexy lingerie, acting this erratic and needs help
Smelling her socks.
smelling her? Well, they were the clean socks.
Ooh, clean socks. Mommy
Screaming
like.
about chickens and being such a rude, horrible American. Um, so embarrassing.
So embarrassing. That's it, Kimberly. That's our show.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about the live you did this week on A Date with Dateline. You did a live. It's on YouTube still, right? People can go find it.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me her name. Peaches and
Peaches and Diesel, but she goes by Peaches on Instagram and she makes these how to not how if you wind up on Dateline, if you get murdered, if you go missing, Dateline binder. So it's very funny. It has like approved photos and which
mhm,
friends can be interviewed and which friends will
mhm,
be too embarrassing.
right.
And, suspects like possible affairs to make it a really juicy episode. Like she puts in affairs with celebrities and stuff.
Oh, okay.
And, all about her husband and life insurance and all of that. Like, and photos of her smiling and being a really good person and being
Yeah.
in a bikini, very sexy, like, because Dateline will use the worst photos they have. So you need to provide the good photos. So it's very funny. And she's thought all of this through. So we had her and Josh Mankiewicz on, and I tried to make my own binder. Katie is the number one suspect because she's my business partner.
Mhm.
So
Sorry,
come on,
Katie.
Katie.
Sorry,
But she's
Katie.
also the person I would like to be interviewed to talk about me on the show.
Oh,
So Mank was like, "Oh, that could be very interesting." Um,
and
and
she's also a suspect.
she's
Gotcha.
also a suspect. Yeah. And like I'm putting in my book that I don't want my weight on my missing poster. It
Yeah.
should say size beautiful. That's all it
Yeah.
needs to say.
Yeah. It should note that you are quite tiny.
It's short
Yeah.
and size beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that, yeah, it should be noted because I don't want somebody out there looking for like a Katie tall person. They
Right.
need to be looking for a little
Yeah.
tiny person like Kimberly.
Yeah.
Um, okay, can I be interviewed on Dateline? I've been waiting my whole life.
Yes. 100%.
Can you put me on the list of people that's approved? I won't do you wrong.
Absolutely. But if you talk about our throuple,
Mhm.
then Mank would love that because we all love an episode with swingers and things like that.
Yeah.
So I think that would be add a new element to it.
I'll say we're in a friendship throuple, and then I can imagine Keith Morrison say, "Very
Friendship?
peculiar."
Yeah.
Okay, everybody go over and find Kimberly and Katie's YouTube. It's called
A date with K and K.
A Date with K and K. I have YouTube as well. It's called
Yes.
Pink Shade Podcast. And
I love going there.
yesterday's episode with Keisha was there. All the episodes are there, actually audio only, but about half of them are video. I was talking to somebody, I don't know, that was asking me about the podcast this weekend, and I was saying like I don't never wanted to do video ever, and I never wanted to do video, but every time we go to any kind of conference or anything, all they tell you is all of it's going towards YouTube, so you're going to have to do it. So
Yeah.
we're doing it a little. We're doing it
Yeah.
a little. We did, I think, almost all of the Love Is Blind, the Pink Shade Prime, Love Is. We did most of those on video, and we did skip. Keisha and I skipped our birthdays. We have the same birthday. We did skip our birthday and didn't do a video last week, and people were up in arms.
Really?
Yeah, I was a lot of comments about it. I was like, you guys, we said it flat out. It's our birthday. We're celebrating by not putting on mascara. That's what we're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we just no concealer to be found.
Mhm.
No,
Yeah.
not even
Much
a
like
gloss,
us today.
much like us today.
Yeah.
And do you know what I'm doing after this? In the next like 15 minutes, I'm leaving my home to go turn my car in and get a new car.
That's so exciting.
It's a new car, but it's a used. I'm going to CarMax. It's a new used car.
I love it.
So I'm excited because the car's been sitting there waiting for me for a week, but I've been out of town so much.
So exciting.
So I'm going to drive it on my girls trip this weekend.
Aw.
You guys, Kimberly's right. I do travel a lot. And after 2 weeks from now, I'll have no more
You
travel
should have
until
seen the look she gave me when I was like, "You're going on another cruise? Wow, you just lived the life of like, traveling." I didn't mean it in a bad way. I just meant like I don't go anywhere and she goes a lot of places and she was like, "What? No, I don't." And I was like, "How many trips do you have planned right now?" She's like, "3 in the next 2 months." But no, I don't travel a lot.
listen, the planning of the trip is more fun than the trip half the time.
I totally get the thing that it does for people. It
Yeah.
gives them
Yeah.
something to look forward to and
Yes,
an
something to look
exciting
forward
thing,
to.
and I totally get that, yeah.
Yeah.
And if you could do it, and
Back
spend your
back to
money in
back.
experiences and
Yeah.
not things.
Yeah, back
Like
to back is rough though. It's
yeah,
rough. Especially when we can't use our bedroom or our bathroom. So we're all spread. I mean, like I told you before we started, this room that I'm in, our downstairs, rec room basement is the only room that's fully put together. Like it doesn't look like cabinets have exploded all over the rooms. It's
yeah.
like doesn't look like a hoarder's paradise down here. But I'm sure eventually everything will trickle its way down the stairs because that's just how we're living right now. Everybody, follow Kimberly and Katie at Dateline on Instagram. Find their podcast wherever you find podcast. It's great. They cover Dateline. They cover Friday's episode of Dateline, and they are funny, even though they're talking about crime. And they are, as we mentioned before, the creators of the year from CrimeCon. Yeah,
Thank
they
you.
are. And
And
let's see.
apologies for anything we said about Karen Reed last week because people are just feel so strongly about that case. Did any of your listeners yell at us?
No, but I've been yelled at privately. So yeah, not yelled at, but I've gotten a strongly worded DM or two
Uh-huh.
that I'm on the wrong side.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well.
Just
Sorry.
let's be respectful of everybody's opinions.
Everybody's got their own opinion.
Yeah,
Everybody's got their own opinion. Speaking of that, everybody make sure to vote next week. Okay.
absolutely.
Yeah. Make sure you vote. Whoever you're voting for, just make your vote heard.
Mhm.
If you're a woman,
It might be very important this
it's a
year.
pretty
Maybe the
important election for
most important
women.
one in history. Yeah.
Women, and if you have,
Just
uh,
think people like Lauren have the ability to vote.
oh God, God, hopefully not. Hopefully he's moved around so much trying to avoid his child support that he's not
Yeah. He
registered
doesn't have a
anymore.
permanent address. We know
Oh,
that.
God.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. I will see you on Thursday. I will have my friend Landon Bryant from the very funny Instagram, TikTok, Landon Talks, where he explains Southern things to you. He's going to
Yeah.
be on Thursday talking about the Peacock documentary, A Anatomy of Lies. He reached out and asked specifically if he could come on to talk about it. So that's what we'll be talking
That's
about
a
on
wild
Thursday.
story.
It's a wild story. And he doesn't really watch much Bravo, but I'll text him and see if he's dipping into any housewives and we can touch on that as well. So thank you to new listener Beth Mayo, and we'll see you on Thursday.
Bye,
Bye.
Beth.
Ads not read by me, Mary Payne, don't necessarily reflect the views of Pink Shade. If you'd like to listen to ad free, you're going to go on over to Supercast or Patreon, and you can find the links to Pink Shade Prime at pinkshadepodcast.com.